All right. Yeah, so render finished and looks pretty cool. One of the things that's kind of difficult about this is that I have the background on in the background, and then my lighting is such that it's not really allowing for um, it's not really allowing for the character to be showcased quite in the right way. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's save this image because I like it. Turned out nicely. Okay, I'm gonna say those kids in the back are kind of loud. I'm gonna have to like shut the window, which is a shame because it feels nice outside. Try to get it to be a little bit quieter, you know. All right. Progress. 10i. All right. So now we've got that going on. I wonder what that is right here. That's really bizarre. But yeah, so we're getting all these different different feels through here. I feel like it's not getting um, as much of the look as I'd like it to have. So I'm going to try playing with that material a little bit more. It's always kind of hard doing look dev sometimes. It's always sometimes. Go ahead and open this up nice and big. Ground plane. Ooh, my head. I hate that it goes through and organizes things like this. I mean, it's like, for real? Come on. Come on. Metalness, specular roughness needs to be in the middle. Okay. Now this should be much better. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the one responsible for roughness. Kind of push it up a little bit. How did the render go? You mean you didn't see it? So this is how the render went. Okay, it turned out pretty nice. Okay. I mean, you can see like the material for the ground isn't quite how I wanted it to look, but I mean you can definitely tell like our displacement is working. You can see the way that it's affecting our overall shape in the fur and in the hair. I'm not entirely sure what's happening here on the knee, but hopefully that's something that I can go through and just either fix, or maybe it's just a blip on the single piece here, on the single render. One of the things I do want to have is I want to go through it and I want to create a lighting scene instead of having this background. I think the background is super cool, but I don't feel like it's quite what I want. So if I were to just hide it, then it would get rid of it. But one of the other things is like, so I mean, if we look over here, I mean, you can see there's a cityscape in the background, and I don't want a cityscape. You look beneath us, we got a sidewalk, and it just doesn't support the character. So, so yeah, it's kind of interesting from that standpoint. um, I'm actually going to try to fix the shape of these a little bit because they got a little bit out of control here. Let's say tool, soft selection, change to volume. Just grab this. Oh, come here, you. No. B. Come on. Just grow our soft selection some. Oh my gosh. Drives me nuts when it does this. I have no idea what it is that it's doing, and it just drives me mad. It's so infuriating. I just want to make sure this is nice and round instead of being kind of a squashed egg sort of shape. That's better. So yeah, that way it matches this side a little bit better. Let me see. Let's go ahead and save this. And I may actually go through and kind of explore different different maps. Let's look up a couple different different options for us. Hey, best ever. Let me see. Mars HDRI map. Okay, this has a lot of the feel that I want. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try this. Open image in a new tab. This is really cool. I don't know how well it'll work for a background image. Let me see. Is this the same image? Yeah, that's the same image that we just saw. So we're not going to worry about looking into that one. This one's really cool. Ooh, it's on ArtStation. Let me see. So I'm trying to look into, and in fact, it might be worth just looking into desert images, desert backgrounds. No, I don't run flip normals, but I do enjoy flip normals. I think that they offer a lot of really good insight, really good wisdom. In fact, let's bring my chat a little bit closer over so I can see when you guys say stuff. It's really, really helpful. Let me see. Go NASA, Mars. Because we've been getting some really, really good imagery from the rover. I'm curious if they have anything up yet that I could use as. I might be able to use something like that, you know, even just for the sake of color. Say open image in a new tab. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for kind of what things look like, not so much, you know, getting exact things, because then what I can do, I love this. I think this is super, super just awesome. I think it looks really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for desert. Let's just look up desert. Why and how do deserts form? It gets dry. I suspect there are a lot of things. Geology is super fascinating to me. I love rock and rock formations and how these different things happen happen. You know, it's just it's quite incredible. Okay, home. Let's say desert HDRI. You could take an Almeria desert pick for that. Maybe I'll check that out. Some important tips to improve sculpting skills. I probably won't dive into sculpting as much today. But I mean, some of the basic principles would be, you know, digging into main forms, you know, big shapes before you get into the little shapes. Those sorts of things are super important. This could be helpful too. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up Photoshop. Just going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to try to close this. But yeah, the most important thing in sculpting is, you know, figure out your base forms before you try digging into your details. Say copy image. Say new, we'll say create, and then we'll say paste. Okay, so now we got that image in there. Let's see if we can get some other things in here. We'll say copy image, new, clipboard, create, paste. I think those are probably the same size, so I'm not going to worry too much about whether things will fit or not. Okay, paste that in. Copy image, paste image. Okay, so this can be something that we can use for some like color lookup. Let me see if I can remember how to do that. Apply image. Yeah, let's see. I think it's, how does this go? How does this go? Layer 3. Interesting. Ambala, huh? Well, welcome to the stream. I'm sorry, I don't understand anything that you typed up to that point. Except for hello. I understand hello. I get that. That's kind of interesting. It's kind of how that goes. Match color. Okay, so let's say source. Oh, you know what? Let's try this. Okay, so let's go. Let's try this again. Adjustments. Match color. Untitled 2. Layer 3. There we go. That's what Papa wanted right there. And that's pretty much exact same colors and everything that I wanted too. So let's kind of play with this. We're gonna try the same thing here too. Let's adjustments, match colors. Where did it go? Match color. From Untitled 2, we'll go from layer 2. Say okay. So you see we're getting this sort of look and feel here, which is really super cool. Let's do something like that. That feels cool. Okay, and then I'm going to take this layer and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a blur. Maybe not. Let's do something like that. Okay, now right here, I mean, it's getting a little bit saturated, so I might have to go ahead and take this and we'll say hue saturation. We'll just kind of play with it a little bit. Take out some of the, make it a little bit less, just a little bit less potent. It's like I feel like that takes out a lot of the warmth in the sky. So maybe what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll say gradient. Keep it warm right here, and that'll we'll play with this, see how this works. Go ahead and do something similar with this so that we only have the extra details kind of popping in, you know, a little bit further away from the actual sun here. I think that might work. Let's try this. We're gonna say save. We'll say BG_01, just so that way it pops up at the very top of our list. Say save, okay. Then we'll come over here and we'll apply it. ArtStation, BG01. Okay. I'm hesitant to go ahead and jump into actually trying to render this again. But in the very least, it's got much more of the ambience that I feel like I want out of this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, let's take the exposure up to 10. Let's look through selected. We're just going to kind of set this to like 45 degrees sort of thing here, just to see kind of how this looks. So we're getting that sort of look, which I feel like is pretty good. We'll test it out. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, it'll definitely look better rendered out. Let's see, let's go back to the right frame, and there's a huge possibility that the that the stream will cut again. So uh, bear with me. um, you know what? Here's something that I'm going to do. I'm going to take. No, I won't. I won't worry about that. But I might do this. I might come in here. This visibility node, the camera, that's going to make it so that the background doesn't show up in the render. So let's see how this goes. Maybe the stream won't cut on me this time. We'll see. We'll see. So let's go ahead and pull this up. So this is what the render is looking like with the past background. I'm just going to save that so that we can come back to it and kind of compare it. Let's go ahead and render it and see how it goes. See you in 6 minutes. I'll try to stay connected too, so that way I can, answer questions or whatever. We can chat while it's running. The nice thing about rendering it out with the background not showing is that then I can go through and can put something in the background however I choose. The hard thing about that is that then I have to worry about putting something in the background. A little smoother, not freaking out too much. Yeah, it hasn't even gotten into rendering the actual geometry yet, though. So we'll have to wait and see what happens when that when that starts to happen. Downloading an RTX driver, huh? There it goes. Oh, that lighting is like super red. I'm curious. I might have to play with it some. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what it looks like once we're done. Let me see. Any tips to make realistic face in ZBrush? I don't really do realism a whole lot. I mean, I've done some in the past, but not a ton. One of the tricky things about realism is that when you're doing something realistic, you tend to base what you're making off of what you think you know. And it's the similar principle to stylized stuff, but when you're making something realistic, you really want to base it off of what you see and what you observe and your research for it to really feel real. Yeah, so streaming is kind of hard to do when it's rendering. I'm sorry. Oh, something I wanted to add. Something, and hopefully you guys can hear me say this, but something I wanted to add to my character's textures. I wanted to possibly like kind of sculpt in a little bit of elbow detail, not a ton, just enough to be able to kind of see that there's some skin bunching up on the elbow, and then I also wanted to give him some freckles, like on his shoulders and across his cheeks. I feel like that would help him feel a little bit more like a developed character. It's nice to see this turn out so nicely, though. I'm really happy with it. So when I go through and do my final renders, it should be pretty epic. It should be pretty nice. And I may try to do some things to get it so that this background looks more, so that it looks nicer. Because I think that would be a nice thing to do. And then I want to do something to the actual base, not the ground stuff, but the base, like the brown base part. I want to do something to that to make it feel like it's got a little bit more texture to it. Right now it's kind of boring. It's kind of flat. It's really flat. And so I want to add, some roughness, some sculpting to it. Kind of like what I did with the rest of the character. And I think that'll help to tie things together nicely. So what I might be able to do is kind of project some details on there. I don't know. We'll have to go through and see. Go through and see what it is that we decide to do. I do think that the light, like this main key light that's shining down on his face, it feels too warm. I kind of like the way that this backlight over here along his shoulder. I like how it's white, so it's like it's creating this contrast in the color of the lighting, and I feel like it's helping to round out the ideas of the colors a little bit better. So I think playing with a little bit cooler of a key light would be a lot better. Let's go ahead and save that. Check out the difference. So there's what we came up with, and this is what we had before. Okay, so you can see like we're starting to pull in the our main light here in the front, starting to feel much more like presentable and things like that. I do want to add in you know what? I kind of like the way that this light, the colors that this brought into this. I feel like that'll be a really nice. Let's take it back to this background, and then in fact, I can't remember if there was anything else that we had done. Yeah, so we'd change the positioning of that light. So let's just go ahead and we'll take this file. Let's drag in. It was in ZBrush, library, environments. And then I'm trying to remember which one it was. It was one of these down here, I think. Not that one. 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 So one of the cool things, if you're if you're looking for some good HDRI backgrounds, Pixar actually has some up on their website. I can't remember. It's on the RenderMan, RenderMan website. So you can go up and you can get some stuff from there, and it's free. So it's really, really nice. Was it in here? Messy garage, no. Cool house balcony, no. It's not gonna be any of these. HDRI skies. There we go. This is the one it was. Okay, so now we've got this back in. I'm going to take this light and I'm going to make its temperature like much cooler. So I'm going to take it over into the blues, but I don't want it to be super saturated. So I'm just going to kind of bring this up, make it so that it's nice. Okay, and then let's hit save. I'm not going to bother re-rendering yet. I feel like that's going to be a little bit too premature. What I do want to make sure of, let me see. Let's go ahead and take this base out and move it over into ZBrush for some texturing. What I want to do though is I want to make sure that this has UVs on it. Let's go ahead and say edit, delete all by type history. We'll say file, optimize scene size, just to make sure that we have gotten rid of anything anything that kind of bogs down the system. How much time till the challenge ends? That is a good question. Bardes, are you there? I think it is like 6 days. So really, we're getting down to the wire. It's pretty close. Yeah, so about 6 days, I think, until the challenge ends. Okay, so let's open up the UV editing space here. Okay, I'm going to take this piece. Okay, I want to say UV. I'm going to say planar UVs. And we're going to go from the y-axis, sure. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, cool. Oh, and then I'm going to add in another couple of, or maybe just one. Yeah, just one loop right there. That'll work nicely. Okay. Let's delete history there. Okay, so what I want to do is I have this 3D cut and sew tool. You can get to that by UV. 3D cut and sew UV tool, and I'm just going to cut. Let's cut right there. Okay, just right underneath the bottom of the base, and that should be all that I need so far as cuts for this piece. Let's go ahead and Control 1. Let's hit 5 just so that we're in as simple of a view as possible. Shift right click, not layout, unfold. Go to unfold, and we've got the different iterations. I'm going to put it to 5. Typically, I would put it up to like 100, but I'm doing this on stream, so I don't want it to totally die. So we'll just let it go. Don't want to waste my time rendering. Since that's on the bottom, it's not really something that's going to be super important. So I'm just going to take this, move it out of the way for a moment. Just going to kind of put this, and actually here's something else we're going to do. I am going to take, let's grab our 3D cut and sew tool. Let's go ahead and cut there. Cut there. We'll cut there. And we'll cut there. Okay, and then we'll just kind of stitch a couple of these points back together. We'll actually, like, in fact, let's do it over here. This might be a little bit easier. Actually, it'll be quite a bit easier. We'll come over here. We'll just kind of stitch this together. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? We're not going to stitch those together. We're going to leave them apart. This section right here is not going to be something that's visible at all. We hit Control 1, you can see it's kind of visible, but not really. So yeah, let's do something here. We're going to say to faces. Let's go to contained faces, and we will say Control or sorry, Shift, and then use the comma key. Just to be able to shrink it in a couple of times. That way we can see that it's got the there's a smaller border here. So I'm going to say to edges, to edge perimeter. So you can see that there. Shift, right click, hit cut. Double click there, create cuts there. Just so we're going to kind of go through and we're going to try to get this to be nice. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's move this out to the side because I want to make sure that I can select this if I need to. Okay, let's come back over here. We're going to say make sure this is cut and this is cut. A little bit of it might be a little bit too much thinking, but we're gonna think a little bit here. That's why we're called the smartest hat. Yeah, I really like to really be considerate when I am creating maps and things like that. I feel like it's so much better when you when you actually think it through and have a plan and things like that. So right now I'm just trying to go through and kind of create as much of a release of pressure as possible on these border pieces. Let's go ahead and grab this. Let's deselect that. Deselect that. Deselect that. Deselect that. Okay. So now we can say move and sew. Get that. Unget that. Unget that. Unget this. And then we should be able to move and sew. Oh, come on, I thought I ungot you. There you go. Right there. Okay. Move and sew. There we go. Same thing here. Unget that. That and that. And that. Move and sew. There we go. And now we just want to get this thing. Move and sew. All right. Okay, let's say unfold. I'm hoping to see some, it didn't really do much. I was hoping to see a little bit smoother of UVs with this, but whatever. It'll be what it. Oh, it's done. Just kidding. I went through and put all my little pieces onto the same Udin square. Man, I'm so sorry. The stream when that cuts out, it's just my internet. It's just terrible. Welcome to LA. Yeah, I feel like everywhere in the world gets better internet than LA. It's frustrating, but whatever. All right. Let's see if we can get this going on. So I want to take this piece now and take it over into ZBrush. So I'm going to say, now that I've got my diggity dude in there, my UVs, I'm going to say export selection, and we're going to say yeah, we're just going to say base. And then over in here, Control-Shift-D, I guess, and then we'll just say import. Oh, here, let's first things first. Let's go ahead and we'll say delete higher, because we don't want to add the subdivision levels when we import. So I'll say import. We'll say go to the right folder, hit base, and there is our piece. I think the normals are flipped, possibly. Maybe not. It's just dark. Turn off the texture map. Okay, so now we can see what's happening with this. Okay, you see, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's fine enough. I do want to kind of true up some of these corners, but I don't know. I might not worry about it a whole lot. I should worry about it some. Let's do it. Let's say move infinite depth. Yeah, what? Delete those layers. Okay. So yeah, this will be kind of related to that question from earlier of like tips for sculpting. Make sure that stream's still connected. Looks like it is. Okay, I'm just going to kind of come in here and just tweak this so that this has the right forms, the right shapes. Form and shape is always more important than detail. You can add some amazing details, but if your forms are bad, the sculpt is going to look bad. So definitely trying to make sure that, especially with something that's supposed to be, you know, a showcase base for this piece, I want to make sure that it, you know, that it looks decent. It's a little bit wavy, but I'm not going to worry about it a whole lot. What I am going to worry about, let's go ahead and, since this already has UVs, I'm going to say, let's turn off solo. Let's turn on the base here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say project, turn off geometry, and I'm going to say, you know, let's boost this up pretty high and say project all. Yes, please. Okay, so now we can see we've got this color in here that we can just use to kind of fill this whole object. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn that back off. I'm going to use my standard brush, and we'll say Yeah, RGB. Let's come over here, grab one of these colors. Say color spray, turn the color down as low as we can without it being 0. Alpha, turn that up to 8. Oops. Turn off Z add. And we're just going to go around and just kind of brush this in for right now. Okay, this will help us get the right colors so that we don't have to worry about not having the right colors. Okay, so there's our object. All right. Now to be able to start to really get this to look right, I want to, just start adding some subdivision levels. Maybe one more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say, turn on Z add, but turn the Z intensity way down. And actually, let's turn on Z sub. Just so that way it gets me a little bit of a rough add. In fact, let's turn this up a little bit so that we don't have to push so hard. I'm just going to kind of swirl this on here. Not really any kind of method to the madness here. I'm just trying to add some detail. Okay. And this is something that's just going to add kind of a preliminary basic level of detail. This isn't something that's going to be, it's not going to stay as perfectly noisy as it is right now. It's going to get moved around. It's going to get smooth. It's going to get bumped. But this is going to add in kind of like a base layer that we work off of, that we see, that gets taken into account as the final levels of detail get added in. So we get this added on. Okay. So there's kind of first level of bump and detail. And let's get something on here on the bottom as well. It's not going to show up very much in the it's not going to show up as much on the map, but at least it's there, so that we did our due diligence. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my clay brush. I'm going to turn off RGB, and I'm just going to come through here and start kind of chipping away at some of these edges. Okay, so that it's not a nice, perfect regular sort of edge. It's going to have some kind of like little divots and things like that, and it looks really weird at first, but after it gets going, it starts to really take off and look really nice. So let me see. Let's actually come up here. I'm going to delete this. Or what we'll do instead, let's do this instead. Let's go up to Maya. We'll grab this one. And then we'll say File, Export Selection. Say Ground Plane 2. Go to Layers. We're going to just we'll leave it there, I guess. Let's say import. There we go. Yeah, there we go. it even kept the subdivisions and everything, just the way that I like it. Okay, that's perfect. That works really, really nicely. Okay, and then this will give me a good idea about how I need to make it blend in with the other pieces. So I'm going to come over here and oh, sorry, not add. Let's actually just turn this from Z add to Z sub, just so that I don't have to worry about getting too caught up in just stroking things out, that I lose track of having positive or negative effect on my brush. I like to add in kind of like these little overlapping round sections, and that helps it to feel like it's got some rock detail, you know. So it's just kind of neat. It's fun. Okay. So after doing a bit of this, I'm going to go ahead and actually start. Let's kind of break that up a little bit. I'm actually going to start with my slash brush to be able to kind of pull out some of these sort of ripple sort of shapes. So let's go ahead and let's open that up just so we can have it there. A ver, brush. Hope I'm not missing any chat. I don't see any chat coming through on Restream, so it's I assume that you guys are probably just chilling in the background, which is fine. Okay, so we've got this going on. We're going to take the intensity down. We're going to select this lighter color over here. So this way what we can do is we can just kind of come through. Oh, I need to go the opposite direction. Your direction matters a ton with this brush. Okay. So yeah, between this brush and the clay brush, I'm able to get a ton of these effects that I really like. In fact, we can go ahead and do opposite on the opposite side of this little divot here. Just kind of dig into it some. Not a whole lot, but some, you know. Helps support that shape a little bit better. Okay, come over here. Just kind of dig around it a little bit. Hey Ian, are you if you're still there, have you started streaming on Pixelogic yet? Do you know when that'll start happening? There we go. So you can see like that's starting to really add kind of like this rock formation sort of feel to it. It's super neat. I really like. Really like this stuff. It's going to stream on the weekends. That's good to know. Yeah, I've got to tune into your streams. Kind of see what it's all about. There we go. Get a little bit of like overlapping shapes in there. And that'll help so that it gets me a little bit of more of that rocky sort of shape. Okay. So these shapes, I mean, they can kind of come down. They can be super independent. They can be, you know, kind of overlapping. But the idea is to help make sure that they create, you know, just kind of like this irregular, rocky sort of shape. So let's go ahead and let's get some more. Oh shoot! I'm used to clay brush being very being positive, and so it's like for me to have switched it to being negative, I'm kind of juking myself there. Whatever. Just gonna go along. I'm gonna do a lot of kind of like surface or edge treatments kind of coming along here, as if like it's had some good erosion over the years. Add some more in certain areas and kind of wear down the edges of the erosion a little bit more in certain places. That way I don't have to worry about everything looking, you know, machined, and I want it to feel more natural. Let's kind of cut that one in quite a bit or something. Maybe not. That's a little bit too far. That's interesting though. Yeah, just give it a little bit of this sort of coming in here. And if you vary your pressure, so if you're not like pushing down at the same pressure the whole time, you'll get little variations in your whole depth, and that creates some really cool effects. So I'm going to create like a big, broad, shallow piece here. Just kind of push this in, push it around. So that gives us some good variation here. Not quite enough though. Let's see. Let's do something like that. And some of these places, like right through here, I need to be careful that I don't like absolutely destroy the alignment of the topology. I still need the topology to feel like it's got it's got some structure to it instead of being completely torn out by by having been flattened down. So yeah, some interesting things to kind of pay attention to and be aware of. Contrast, go up the other side over here. Get my clay brush going again here. So yeah, it takes a little while, but I mean it's super worth it in the end, right? Remember, this whole time I'm trying to think about rock. So I mean, some of this might get kind of pulled back a little bit more than it had before. But it's all about discovering the shapes that we need. Got to kind of look and dig, and it's a little hard to dig for rocks sometimes, but yeah, if you got a pretty good idea of the shape language that you're looking for, or the formation language, it'll help you to really get really get it going the way that you envision it. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I had gone through, I think you were there for that stream, where I had gone through and I had done like a ton of a ton of rock and all sorts of things to kind of go around it, and it was super neat. I really enjoyed how my rock and my environment stuff was going on, but I did find out that that would be against the rules and would disqualify me, etc., etc., etc. So um, unless I were to fit everything into a one UDIM square, it just wasn't going to work for me. So I ended up having to nix it. Let's do something like that. It's so funny, like this is such a simple technique, and it's like it makes it look so much easier. So it's like it really kind of takes the mystery out of it, and it really makes a lot of things a lot simpler. Yeah, I did have my speeder bike. I think my speeder bike might be something that I need to kind of just nix for now. I'll probably do it as a little bit of an add-on because I do want to have the bike, and I do want to finish it. I feel like for the competition, for the sake of the competition, I'll kind of let it wait. But yeah, I mean, so far this is turning out nicely. I'm excited. I'm excited, guys. Okay, like I said, just trying to chip up this this edge quite a bit here. See, it's 11:42. I've got a presentation at noon. Not noon, noon 30. So I will probably go ahead and go until about noon, so maybe I can get like some lunch or something. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. I need to get groceries sometime today too, I think. Let me see. What is today? Thursday? Let's go ahead and make it so that it's not just a little teardrop shape. I didn't like how that was looking. Let's go ahead and we'll kind of pretend like this shape is kind of coming down and continuing down into this section. That could be cool. Let's get some flattening out these sections over here. Something like that. How far are we? How much more do we have to go? Are we there yet? So far this is looking so much better. Yeah, so I'm trying to decide how I want to go about including that bike, or like what how eventually I'll be, or how soon I'll be able to actually get into finishing it out. If I want to make it part of my Pixologic streams. We're going to have another theme next month. I'm not entirely sure yet what it's going to be. We haven't really decided that yet. But yeah, there will be some other theme to kind of imitate, not imitate, to celebrate St. Patrick's Day a little bit. So we'll have to see kind of where that goes. There you go. Get something like this kind of going in there. Oh, that's a little bit too much. Let's leave this a little bit sharper, and then as it kind of comes away over here, maybe we'll have it get a little bit flattened out again. And again, we'll just kind of add in some extra erosion over here on this side, just to kind of follow suit with what's happening here. So almost as if something had come down and like boom, you know, like sounded off or something. Lots of leprechauns coming. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had suggested the theme of lucky, because that kind of you know, it allows people to play with the idea of leprechauns, or you know, something like that. In fact, I might make that my no spare time challenge theme for the month of March, but yeah, not entirely sure yet. See, got about another 15 minutes, and we're almost done with this base. We'll have to see if we can get this to come on over to being finished, you know. In fact, that's something I hadn't thought of, is like taking some of these and kind of pulling them so that they were, you know, kind of wrapping around, so get that detail so that it breaks the silhouette a little bit better. Yeah, I'm trying to think about this from different angles, and how these different angles kind of play together to fit the final look. Something kind of like that. I think that helps quite a bit. Still going to go through and kind of chip some of these edges off just a little bit, chisel it some. How important is it for an artist to have the style? It depends on what kind of artist. As a modeler, it's cool if you have your own style, but it's not as important, because as a modeler, studio wants to know that you can handle their style. So they want to see variety. They want to see. Let's make this actually nice and broad. Yeah, they want to see that you can handle their style. So having your own style as a modeler doesn't matter as much. But as like a concept artist, having your own style is extremely important. You know, it's a way that, you know, studio knows whether or not they want to use you, they want to cast you for a show or whatever. So yeah, it's super important to be, you know, to be flexible, more than anything. And different artists may have different answers for that, but that's been my experience. That especially as a modeler, they don't care about you having your own defined style. They want to see that you can be versatile, and that you can adapt to their style. So that's why I go through and then I do so much in you know, just different little projects, you know, trying to do different little things, and you know, figuring out what what something might look like in whatever style. I don't know. That's a big reason why I chose to take on this this ZBrush, or this ArtStation challenge, was because the idea that I got in my head was so different from anything else that I typically do that I was like, I can't. I need to do this. I need to. You know, this is such a great example. Wrong direction. Such a great example of, you know, something of me being able to go through and adapt my my style, you know, adapting my modeling to fit the stylistic needs of the character itself. And let's go through, kind of put that in there a little lower. So yeah, that's an interesting. It's always a good question, and I get asked that question a lot, but it's an important one, and I feel like the more people understand that it's not going to be a matter of it's not going to be a matter of your personal style that's going to get you the job necessarily. Okay. Having your own personal style and having something that you like more than other things, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and in a lot of ways, catering your portfolio in that sort of way to different designs and things that you prefer, that could help you get the job that you want. You know, make sure that, you know, if you're really into World of Warcraft and you want to work on World of Warcraft, that you aren't focusing on modeling Disney style things. You know, if you want to work for Disney, you know, you want to make sure that you're kind of not necessarily just catering to their needs, but also like trying to show versatility, trying to show that you can handle different designs, trying to show that you can match designs. They really like to know that people can match a design and make it functional, you know, something that can be used in production. Let's go ahead and kind of bring this down, do something like that. So yeah, those sorts of things are really important to consider. I'm wondering if I'll be able to get this done in the next 7 minutes. I think I can do it. Oops, that's a little bit too much. Okay, that's better. That's a little bit too much. That's better. Sometimes it's a matter of just going through and not being afraid to undo. That was weird. I don't like that. Let's bring it more up here and bring another level down here. Something like that. kind of add like a couple different layers of these grooves, and that helps to really kind of add interest in those spots. Okay, now I don't want to add so much interest that it's like distracting, but I definitely want to make sure that I'm adding enough interest to tell the story, you know, to whatever that story is. You know, you can kind of infer that, you know, it's rock. If it's chipped, it's old, you know, whatever. If it's smooth, it's probably from a river, those sorts of things. So you get a little bit more of a sense of kind of where something comes from, judging by the story of the surface. And that's something that I really like to try to think about when I'm sculpting out these sorts of things. Think about the story of it. Time to prepare for dinner. Le dîner. La cena. Provecho, amigo. Bring that around. Let's add in a couple of little grooves in here. There we go, that works. Just really nice and light on some of these spots. And I want to try to continue some of these grooves down. Just because I feel like it's kind of nice having the continuation of the geometry, and some of it might not quite work. It might not match up super nicely or whatever, but you know, we're going to try to get some of this to go a little bit anyway. Let me see. I kind of liked that. Let's give it that negative sort of contrast against the positive of it pulling out. That's a little bit too much off to the side. Yeah, the slash 2 brush is awesome. I learned about this brush because of Ashley Adams. If you guys watch her streams on Pixelogic or on Twitch or anywhere else, she's awesome. I really like her stuff and her style and her workflow. I've learned so much by watching and listening to her. Yeah, that's one of the things that I totally love about one of the things that she does is that she uses this to be able to do, you know, mostly just like carved details or ridges in creatures and stuff. But I found that this is also a great brush for being able to explore, you know, rock surfaces or other organic surfaces. So let's kind of highlight some of this just a little bit. Get some of that coming out. And if you go at it like super straight, then it's not going to look very good. So I always try to give it like a little bit of a wiggle. And that helps to vary up the look. It helps to vary up the form, all sorts of things, and it looks really, really cool like that. So get some extra variation in here, just a little bit, you know? Break it up some. Okay, so it's about noon now. I do want to finish this up though before I'm almost there, so I think I can do this. Let's see, it's got a little bit more there, a little bit more there. It doesn't have to be super heavy or super defined. Just trying to add some very natural looking variation. So add some of that coming down. So with a brush like this, with the slash brush, slash, I don't know if the other brushes are the same way, but that's a little bit too much like a hole. I want it to have more irregularity to it. It's directional, so the direction that you use it in definitely matters. So you see, like I'm definitely going in, you know, like I'm going left to right for the top of this ridge, and then going right to left for the bottom. Super important. But you can go through and you can layer it in the same direction, and that helps to get you like a layered rock effect. Super cool. That's a little bit weird. Let's see. That in. Let's get this down here. Oh man, we are getting so close, guys. I can taste sweet victory over final stretch stuff here now, you know, it's coming. Just gonna kind of make like a final pass, make sure that I don't miss any of these types of details. It's a little bit too heavy, and it's too regular too, so like I want to kind of make sure that that's not. There we go, something like that. So where are we at? Let's add a little bit kind of around here too. We're getting super close on this. I can so close, I can taste it. It's so delicious. Let's go through over here. We'll just kind of make sure that some of these lines continue down into the base a little bit better. Okay. That's looking pretty stinking cool. Okay, I want to take. Oh, let's get a little bit more attention on this little spot right here. Don't want it to feel forgotten. Do something kind of like that. Boom. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, go to masking. We'll say mask by smoothness. You see how that adds in like this really cool kind of like mask pattern. Sometimes it's not quite what I want, so I'm gonna boost this a little bit just to see what it gives me. Yeah, that'll work, I think. I want to select this brown right here, so I'm going to hit C. Let's grab my standard brush. Yep, Z sub, perfect. Okay, what I want to do, I'm going to invert my mask. I'm going to hit Control H. Okay, and I'm going to start, maybe make my brush just a little bit bigger. That's maybe not quite the mask that I want. Let's see. Let's try peaks and valleys. No, I think let's try cavity. Cavity sometimes works. There we go. That'll work. Okay, let's just kind of smooth it out some. Okay, let's test this. That's not at all what I want. Let's go back. We'll just do smoothness. I think this is probably going to be the best option for us. So we just go ahead and invert that. And then most of what I want to do is I just want to come through with this brush, and then just kind of fill in some of these areas. That'll help to bring out some of the contrast of the details. Might be a little bit too intense though. So you can see it's adding like some extra color in there, and it's not quite exactly the same. I wish that I had thought to go through and do this at the same time as I did the other piece, but should be good enough for what I need. Okay. So yeah, you can see lots and lots of sculpted detail in there, and not a whole lot of effort needed to go into making this. Now, I'm debating whether or not to keep these at the same scale, so I need to make sure that I can get enough detail in the base in order for it to feel like it matches the other piece. Otherwise, it's going to feel pretty disjointed. So, I mean, one of the things that I'll probably end up having to do is I'll have to go ahead and take the UVs and kind of fix it so that they are so that they have similar texel densities, so that they have the same amount of texture amount to them. Which really shouldn't be too hard. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to say save. Please replace that. Okay, let's grab this and this, and we'll grab the little pebbles too. Hit Control 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit UVs. We're going to grab all these pieces. Oh, except for this one and this one. I don't need those to have the same texel density. But I do need to have, in fact, let's take these and we'll just move them off the chart for right now. Keep them together, but move them off so that they're out of the way. Okay. And we'll go ahead and we will say get underneath so this is texel density, underneath tools in the transform, underneath the UV toolkit. So let's say get, and then we'll say set, and that'll average them all out so that they all have the same texel density. Okay. Just going to take some pieces off to the side. Let's actually rotate this. I'm going to have to go through and kind of remake my maps for this stuff. But that happens. I'll probably do that outside of the stream because I've already done that on stream and I don't want to make it too too repetitive. Okay, so I can already tell this is going to be too big. Okay, so I'm going to take this, take this, take this, take this. We're just going to shrink it down. Take those, put them over here so that they're as, you know, filling up as much of the space as possible, but also trying to be as out of the way as possible. Okay, so I'm going to take this, let's put this up here. Try to squish these in as much as I can. It's going to be tricky because, yeah, these pieces are going to need to. So I'm going to actually take this. I'm going to put this above these pieces. Let's pull this down. Pull this over. So that's how that's going to go. This piece, we're going to have this go like this. Ooh, I might be able to squeeze these all in here right now. Let's go ahead and do this. Sweet. And now we can take these and we can shove these in here. And now the textile density matches, and so now we should be able to get an even map on these things. So I'm going to say save. Okay. File, export selection, ground plane 2. Let's go ahead and select this. We'll say file, export selection. Base. Like, what did I call it? Base. Okay, cool. So I'm going to say import base. Okay, that didn't work. So let's say clone. On the clone, we're going to say import base. And then we're going to say UVs. Where are my UVs? UV master. Let's grab that. I'm just going to transfer UVs. So copy UVs. Come over here. Say paste UVs. Okay. So now I can come down here. I could say texture map, create new from polypaint, and you can see now it's all lined up the way that I need it. Awesome. And you can see it, you know, it kept the Did I lose a subdivision level? I must have not. I don't know. It must not be quite as subdivided as I thought it was. I thought it was subdivided one more time or something like that. Oh well, I'll just leave it the way it is. So we've got that. Okay. And now same thing for the other piece here. We're going to go ahead and say clone. Bring this in. We'll say import ground plane 2. We'll say copy UVs. We'll say paste UVs. And then we'll say new from polypaint. No! Interesting. Okay, so we're going to come up here. We're going to say polypaint. Polypaint from texture. Let's get our old. No. No. There we go. It's like we got to get the old texture back. Okay, let's say polypaint. Polypaint from texture. Okay, so now we can come down here. We can say texture map. We'll just take this and turn it off. Okay, now we can paste UVs. And now we can say new from polypaint. And now we're good. Okay, so I'm going to leave that the way it is. I've got to jump over for class. And then, yeah, I don't know. I might jump back on to stream more afterward. I might not. Actually, I might not. I mean, it looks like it might be a. Oh, it's a lot sunnier outside than I was expecting. I'll probably go and do something with the kids. But yeah, let's go ahead and save this so that it's not lost. Let's go ahead and hit save, replace, yes please. And so far so good. I'm really excited with how it's turning out. I'm interested to see how it looks in render, and I'll probably post an update later. I might start posting updates more regularly now that we're all down to the wire on the competition. But yeah, so far so good. It's a lot of fun. Hope you guys had fun. I know I did. So anyway, thanks for coming, having fun, and commenting and chatting with me. It's always fun to have company. So yeah, stay in tune, stay in touch, and I will see you around the